Now on Nightside, homelessness is a hot button issue that keeps showing up ahead of the mayoral election. Today, the two candidates faced off. Here are their proposed solutions.
We got a break from the wet weather this evening, but another round of rain is on the way. I'll let you know when to expect it in the first alert forecast.
And why the West Bonner School Board had to cancel their meeting tonight. You're watching 4 News Now, Nightside. A West Bonner School Board meeting canceled tonight because one of the board members didn't show up. Good evening, and thanks for staying up with Nightside. I'm Kirsten O'Connor. The district requires 3 out of the 5 board members to attend to be able to make decisions. With 2 board members ousted, that means all 3 had to be there. The district still has to decide what to do about their uncertified superintendent. And new on Nightside, our Rania Kaur spoke to the superintendent, and the people left frustrated.
Kirsten, both the superintendent and the acting board chair told me they knew that Trustee Troy Reinbold was not going to show up this morning. They were hoping he'd change his mind in time for the meeting. This wasn't how the school board meeting was supposed to end.
We've worked hard, and we're not going to give up. We're going to do whatever it takes to take back our school district.
Trustee Reinbold? Trustee Troy Reinbold needed to attend.
And so I apologize for your time coming here.
For the school board to legally act on the agenda items.
I feel that he has let not only the children and the staff down, but he's let the community down.
The meeting would have been the first step in deciding who would fill the positions Keith Rutledge and Susan Brown held before the recall. The board also needs to figure out what to do about their superintendent, since the Idaho Board of Education said no to his emergency certificate.
And I think we do need to have a conversation on those letters. It would be remiss of us as a board not to be discussing those letters and figuring out how we want to move forward.
Superintendents of the district have received that certificate in the past.
It's pretty clearly discriminatory action that the board took, and whether or not why they chose to do that is only they will know. But we're going to continue to work and get things done for this district and help put it in a better position so that it can achieve better academic success and have some budgetary strength.
Durst's future now unknown.
The schools are very dear to me, and I want it taken care of, and I want them run the right way.
Acting Board Chair Hall says they are planning to have a special board meeting next week in order to address the items on the agenda that were planned for today. Of course, we'll continue to keep you updated right here on KXLY and on our website at kxly.com. In Priest River tonight, I'm Rania Kaur, 4 News Now.
Well, we are not just losing warmth in the forecast, we are also losing our sun and our sunshine. This is the time of year when we lose the most daylight, which can make for some chilly nights. Chief Meteorologist Chris Crocker's here with how cold we can expect things to get. Chris?
Well, with the clouds and showers, it makes things feel even cooler, but it is a damp and cool night across the inland northwest with another round of precipitation rotating counterclockwise into eastern Washington from North Idaho. We're already seeing that wet weather on the Idaho Palouse and expect a chance of showers through the overnight, although there is a very northern extent of this wet weather. I'll show you more about that later in the broadcast, but here's a look at our forecast radar starting off at our current time, and you'll see that the wet weather only makes it as far north as Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, and most of the time it's south of I-90. Here's 6 o'clock Thursday morning. So we will get some pretty decent breaks, while down on the Palouse and the LC Valley, that rain is going to be fairly continuous. Here's 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon with light rain around Spokane, and it increases in intensity the further south you go. Here's a look at those highs today. 58 in Spokane. It was 62 in Coeur d'Alene, only 58 degrees in Moscow and Pullman, and 64 in Lewiston. We'll be a little bit warmer tomorrow, depending on how much rain we get. If we end up with a little more than what you saw there on the computer model, those temperatures will be lower, but a high of 66 with at least a slight chance of rain throughout the day. Air quality in the good range. Our average high is 72. I'll be back with your 7-day forecast forecast, there are more opportunities for showers and not a lot of sunshine to talk about. That's in just a few minutes. Kirsten.
Thank you, Chris. The ballots for the general election go out by mail in less than a month. Secretary of State Steve Hobbs says election security is a top priority in Washington, and the FBI is already investigating a couple of incidents involving suspicious powders being sent to county auditors' offices. He said a few months ago, powdered fentanyl was sent to an elections office in King County, and that's not the only incident.
In Okanogan County, we seeded white powder. Now it was baking soda, but it shut down the operations for 3 days. So it's a new threat that has emerged that now county auditors are going to have to deal with, and it's very unfortunate.
Well, ballots go out in the mail starting October 18th. To register or update your voting information online or by mail, the deadline is October 30th. The deadline to do that in person is Election Day, November 7th at 8 p.m. And as Election Day approaches, 4 News Now is here to help you be prepared to vote this November. One of the most impactful measures on the ballot for Spokane County is the vote for a 0.2% sales tax for a new jail building and criminal justice. Tomorrow, Spokane Rotary Club is hosting a debate on this measure between the sheriff and county commissioner. Tune in at noon on the KXLY Plus app. Download it now on your connected TV. And as always, head to KXLY.com/forthepeople to get the answers you need about the upcoming election. The battle for Spokane City Hall is heating up over parking lots. On Wednesday, the Woodward campaign launched their latest attack against challenger Lisa Brown, releasing audio of Brown allegedly advocating for safe parking lots for people living out of their cars. Incumbent Mayor Nadine Woodward and her supporters donned T-shirts and signs that said, quote, "Not in my lot," as Woodward spoke on her approach to the growing issue of homelessness. She says that building housing and getting people in residential treatment programs is part of the solution, and conversations are in the works to allocate millions of bonding dollars toward building these houses and expanding programs.
We're talking about people who are addicted, who have serious mental health issues that are not being addressed, and a car in a parking lot is not a safe place for them.
And 4 News Now also sat down with Lisa Brown today, who said Woodward's accusations against her are false, saying her main goal is to bring people inside and off the streets. Brown said she has discussed the concepts of safe parking and tiny villages that have seen success in other cities as a way to prevent people from becoming homeless altogether.
Nobody wants people camping in parking lots. I have heard from neighbors in Corbin Park and Hilliard and Browns Addition that people are living in cars and RVs, and they're parking in places they probably shouldn't park. The concept of safe parking is to offer them a place to come so they can connect to services and not become homeless in the first place.
Lisa Brown also talked about the need to provide adequate shelter space for Spokane's homeless population, saying at last check, more than 2,000 people were counted as unhoused, with only 1,000 total beds available. New and smaller homeless encampments are popping up in Spokane, and trash is being dumped illegally. The city expects to see 33 tons of trash collected by the end of December. Brett Womble says he goes to People's Park at least once a week. He says it's a great place for fly fishing. And lately, though, he says there's too much illegal camping around the park.
Debris, trash. I found needles in the river. That's a big thing too. You know, I mean, we have a big community of fly fishers around here. You know, during the summer, you know, someone steps on a needle, that's bad.
The city's code enforcement says they are picking up thousands of pounds of trash every year, from food containers to cardboard boxes. The city of Spokane and SNAP are joining forces to help families who were evicted from their downtown apartment building when it was deemed unsafe. The city says payments have been processed by SNAP for 20 people who lived at this Wall Street apartment complex. Now, according to city code, relocation assistance for displaced tenants is more than $2,000 per unit, or 3 times the monthly rent. The city says relocation assistance is normally the building owner's responsibility according to state law.
Well, time for a quick look at sports. I'm Julian Minenzone. If Gonzaga basketball wants to make a 7th straight trip to the NCAA tournament, it will not be easy. Gonzaga announced its non-conference schedule for the upcoming season. It's one of the toughest in the entire country. The Gonzaga women's basketball team will face off against 10 teams that were ranked in the top 100 of the net rankings last season. Gonzaga opens up with an exhibition game against Warner Pacific at home on November 2nd. The Bulldogs go head-to-head against a string of Pac-12 opponents as well. Gonzaga will take on the defending Pac-12 champion Washington State Cougars on November 9th in Pullman. The Zags will also host Stanford on December 3rd, and then Gonzaga will hit the road to take on Cal on December 7th. The Bulldogs' full non-conference schedule can be found on our website at KXLY.com. And Gonzaga kicks off the season with its annual Fan Fest event. That event is scheduled for October 14th at McCarthy Athletic Center. Live in the studio, Julian Minenzone, 4 News Now Sports.
Thank you, Julian. The new financial relief coming to people who lost their homes in the Gray and Oregon Road fires, plus how the city of Spokane is planning more canopy coverage and forestry education. That's next on Nightside.
Here are 4 things to know about your weather. We've got rain mainly south of I-90 overnight, scattered showers further to the north, and then staying mostly dry up along the Canadian border. Temperatures will be in the 60s tomorrow. Fall officially starts Friday night. Only 0.06 of an inch of precipitation at the airport in Spokane. You may have gotten a little more at your house. We are obviously running well below average year to date, but we have some opportunities to make up for that. Area of low pressure rotating counterclockwise, bringing that wet weather wrapping around into the inland northwest. It is slowly sinking to the south, but we will remain in its grasp through the day tomorrow. Here's 6 o'clock tomorrow. Then it's going to speed up on Friday, heading off to the east, and we have high pressure pushing in for at least the start of the weekend. Saturday, great day, great Green Bluff day, long run day, enjoy the outside. And then Sunday, things start to look a little more iffy. I wanted to show you some of the precipitation totals expected through Thursday and how much more we're going to be getting down on the Palouse and the LC Valley. Very little further to the north, and then dry as we get deeper into the Okanagan and the Northeast Mountains, where temperatures will make it into the 70s tomorrow. We'll be in the 60s with wetter and grayer weather further to the south and east. The planning forecast: fall starts Friday, mostly dry but overcast conditions, a high of 64 degrees, 71 and partly sunny on Saturday. Then that chance of showers is back in the forecast Sunday. Only a slight chance. It increases as we get into next work week with some cooler weather heading into the middle of next week. I'll be back in just a few minutes with some Wildlife Wednesday photos.
Exciting stuff. Thank you, Chris. Spokane just received $12 million in urban forestry grants. This money will go toward caring for existing trees, planting new ones, and educating the next generation of foresters. The city of Spokane and the Spokane Conservation District, plus the Spokane Lands Council, will all work together to make the most of these funds.
We rarely get opportunities for such amazing awards for urban forestry, and we've been doing lots of work, and so this is going to assist us in doing so much more.
For more information on the plan, you can visit our website, KXLY.com. Well, we told you about the Gray Fire's impact on the Silver Lake Bible Camp. The camp lost 5 cabins and lots of important equipment on top of trying to rebuild the camp. Its executive director is also trying to rebuild his own home that was destroyed. He says he's not worried about the rebuilding process because he knows he has the community's support.
We've been incredibly blessed as well. People have reached out to us and helped us, so it's taken a lot of that burden off of us, and so has really helped us to be able to try and aid others as well.
He also says that while it's hard for him to come out and see the destruction every day, it gets earlier seeing a bit more progress, or easier rather, seeing a bit more progress every time he's out there. More property tax relief is coming to those who lost their homes in the Gray and Oregon road fires. Under legislation passed in 2021, taxpayers can apply for a 3-year exemption. In a statement, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners, Mary Cuney, said, quote, "This is a step Spokane County is taking to provide relief to our community. You can submit your applications for this tax relief to the Spokane County Assessor's Office before starting construction. Applications must be approved before June of 2026. Well, what you're looking at your screen now is video of the SWAT team driving through a fence in Pullman during a standoff. Police say it started when the suspect fired at officers while they were looking for him. Police say the 51-year-old man made suicidal statements, did not go to work, and took a firearm from his home. Investigators say he ended up taking his own life. A 14-time convicted felon is back in jail tonight, this time for being found in a stolen car with drugs and a gun. According to the Spokane County Sheriff's Office, 30-year-old Nicholas Haven tried to run away from a deputy when he went to confront him about the possibly stolen car. Haven then tried to get away, and the deputy managed to detain him. When investigators searched the car, they found pills believed to be fentanyl. They also found this gun, which is a crime for Haven to have had since he is a convicted felon. He now faces multiple charges, including possession of a stolen vehicle.
Right when you're in the streets, take caution. Protect your neck and your noggin. When you're in the streets, take caution. Protect your neck and your noggin.
Well, if you haven't heard that song, it's because it's the very first track of the Consumer Product Safety Commission's debut album. And it's called We're Safety Now, Haven't We? Which is still a mystery to me. I'm not quite sure what that means. The album is meant to encourage kids, though, to be safe while they're out enjoying the outdoors, riding their bikes or scooters, and just general safety. Employees advocating for remote work might have more in their favor. The benefits a new study has revealed next on Nightside. Employees advocating for remote work might have another positive in their favor. A new study found working from home is better for the environment. The authors say it could cut a person's carbon footprint by 58% compared to in-office work. Hybrid work also had an impact, although just one day at home a week didn't make an impact. Got to be a little more than that. The study analyzed energy consumption surveys and Microsoft employees' data. Summer may not be over, but snow has already started to fall on Schweitzer Mountain. A lot of people were sharing this on social media today, Chris.
So I think this picture made it around the world.
Yeah. Snow in the summer. And I'm sure the skiers and snowboarders were excited to see that.
Absolutely. I know personally of many people across several states that know that spot and are ready to go. So got a ways to wait. In the meantime, it's time for Wildlife Wednesday, and I am going to start off. Look closely. If you have one of those giant 4K TVs, you can probably see this a little bit better. But there is a great horned owl tucked in there. Boy, talk about camouflage. That is impressive. I don't know how Rich saw this owl at Turnbull. You have to have your eyes open. No wonder they're such excellent hunters. Thank you for the fantastic photo, Rich. I would never have seen, I could have terrible eyes. I would never have spotted this. Nora Jen shared this photo of the Washington state bird, the American goldfinch, dining on some sunflower seeds in the sun. A little bit of a smoke there, Nora was saying. They'd had some smoky skies. Kathy Bolam spotted this snacky squirrel at Farragut State Park, where she was saw all sorts of creatures stopping by the apple tree, but what a little darling. And from Mark Vogt, some feisty foxes. I'm into the alliteration tonight. He said they were playing wildly, and then they spotted Mark, and then as soon as they did, they zipped away. They looked like little puppies there. Speaking of Mark, winter prediction based on the animals and other natural wonders of North Idaho. He has noticed thick fur on bears and chipmunks. The leaves are changing extra early. The fireweed didn't fully bloom. That's a new one for me. The hairs are changing color early, and of course the caterpillars are extra black. That all adds up to an early and tough winter. Climate Prediction Center thinks it's going to be more mild, a little bit warmer than average, a little bit wetter. So we'll gather back at the end of the season and see how that turned out, Kirsten.
I'm going to be curious to find out more. And Mark Vogt always has an opinion about what we're seeing and what he's seeing.
Yes.
I like hearing that.
I do too. He is fascinating. All those photos on my Facebook page.
We're listening, Mark. We're all listening. All right. Well, ultra-processed foods like frozen pizza, French fries, and cookies could be linked to depression in women. A new study published Wednesday looks at how ultra-processed foods and drinks made with artificial sweeteners were associated with an increased risk of depression. I'm sort of smiling while saying this, not because this is happy, but because it makes me kind of sad. The study's co-author says there is a possibility those with chronic depression can worsen their condition with a poor diet. Experts outside of the study say it's also possible that depression and a higher intake of what's considered junk and comfort foods feed on each other. The Biden administration says it plans on relaunching its free at-home COVID test program. That's according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
The president believes it's very important to make sure that all Americans have access to tests. And so we will once again begin our program to provide Americans with an opportunity to request tests. Stay tuned. We'll try to get that out as quickly as possible, but that is the plan moving forward.
Starting Monday, people can order 4 free tests per household from covidtests.gov. More than 750 million tests have been distributed through the website since it was created. The program was suspended back in May at the end of the COVID public health emergency to preserve the supply.
The Seattle Seahawks team doctors have been working around the clock. Welcome into sports. I'm Julian Minnesome. The Seahawks have a number of injuries, but maybe none bigger than at defensive back. Head coach Pete for at least another week. Adams didn't play in the first 2 games this season. He's recovering from a torn quad tendon he suffered in last year's season opener.
There's always the possibility that the guy, he could play because he's practicing with us. He'll go full go today and have a great week, I hope. We're planning on, making sure that we don't do it until the time is exactly right. So we're trying to just measure that, sensing from how he feels and all that. He's really excited about how close he is now. So we'll see what happens.
Kickoff against Carolina is at 1:05 on Sunday afternoon from Lumen Field in Seattle. Number 21, Washington State will go head-to-head against number 14, Oregon State on Saturday. There are 2 certainties heading into this game. The Beavers are good at running the football, and the Cougars are good at stopping teams from running the football. So something's got to give. Oregon State's impressive rushing attack ranks 4th in the Pac-12. That's in large part to the Beavers' large offensive line. All week long, Washington State has been simulating the Beavers' physicality during practice. Saturday will come down to which team is tougher. Washington State head coach Jake Dickert is hoping it's the Cougars.
I think there's just such an interesting dynamic that their offense has. Yes, it is cutting the head off the snake. It is stopping the run. It is being disciplined. But, man, they'll take them some shots down the field, and the quarterback is really good at leveling the ball in there. So we got to prevent those explosive plays, too, to make them earn everything.
Well, the saying goes, look good, play good, and Washington State's definitely going to turn some heads with these jerseys on Saturday. The Cougars will be wearing the anthracite jerseys with the white helmet and pants. The last time Washington State wore these bad boys were against Nevada in 2017. Kickoff between the Cougars and Beavers is set for 4 o'clock on Saturday in Pullman. There are only 2 players in baseball history who have had 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases, and 100 RBIs in a season at age 22 or younger. Alex Rodriguez when he was a member of the Seattle Mariners, and Atlanta Braves superstar Ronald Acuna Jr. But now you can add another guy to that list. Mariners all-star outfielder Julio Rodriguez became the 3rd player at age 22 or younger to hit 30 home runs, have 30 stolen bases, and have 100 RBIs in a season. That was his 100th RBI. Came on that home run in the 5th inning against the Oakland A's today as Seattle went up 3-1. Now the Mariners, they kept it going as the game went on. Dominic Canzone laces one to the wall. 2 more Mariners will come around to score as Seattle pushes the lead to 6-1. Next inning, Oakland trying to fight back. It's Brent Rooker. is going to get a hold of this one, hits it into deep center field and over the head of Rodriguez for a home run. Gets Oakland back in the game, but unfortunately for them, it was too little too late. Good news, though, if you're a Mariners fan, it was Justin Topa sitting them down in the 9th. Game over. Mariners get the victory 6-3. They sweep Oakland and now will head on the road to take Texas on Friday. With the win, Seattle and Texas are now tied for that final American League wildcard spot. Texas has the head-to-head tiebreaker, so this series will be huge for playoff implications. First pitch is at 5:05 on Friday night in Arlington, Texas. And that'll wrap us up for sports.
All right, our fall weather continues. Keeping up with the calendar, fall starts Friday.
And we're almost to Friday because it's Thursday already.
Almost.
I know. I'm a little ahead.